Joplin's Freeman Health System announces it's closing its COVID unit as patient numbers decline.
Republicans are launching a counter-campaign to poke holes in President Biden's American Rescue Plan. I'm Skyler Henry at the White House with the details as officials hit states across the country to sell the massive COVID bill.
The 4 states' most watched news starts now.
Joplin's Freeman Health System announces it's closing its medical COVID-19 unit. This is KOAM News at 5. Declining coronavirus patient numbers have led staff to close their medical COVID-19 unit after their last 4 patients were discharged yesterday. While they still have 3 patients in their COVID-19 ICU, Freeman says it can serve patients in 1 combined medical unit now. That'll allow staff to use those hospital beds for other patients. They say in case the need does arise to take in COVID patients again, they'll keep equipment and infrastructure inside the unit in order to meet those needs. We're going to hear from Freeman's Chief Clinical Officer tonight at 6. Kansas Governor Laura Kelly says the state will move into phases 3 and 4 of the vaccination plan next week in Kansas. That opens the door for all people with medical risks, severe or otherwise, ages 16 to 64, and all critical workers to receive vaccines. Health officials in southeast Kansas say they've seen a drop in vaccine demand from those in phase 1 and phase 2, and they're looking forward to moving into the next 2 phases.
We think it's an awesome, idea and will allow us to reach more people, and that's what we want to do. We just want to get vaccine into people's arms. We want to get them protected.
Well, I appreciate it.
One health department in southeast Kansas moved into phase 3 today. We're going to have more on that for you tonight at 6. For the latest news and resources related to the COVID-19 vaccine, go to our website, koamnewsnow.com/vaccine. On that same page, you'll find a form that you can fill out to send us with your questions about COVID-19 and vaccine distribution. Again, that's at koamnewsnow.com/vaccine. Checking in with Doug Hetty now. Boy, it's been a beautiful day, Doug. Obviously, we're having some audio problems there. We'll check back with Doug a little bit later. President Biden today hit the road for his first leg of the so-called Help Is Here tour. But he and top officials fan out across the country to sell his COVID relief plan. Republicans are launching their own counter-messaging campaign. Reporter Skyler Henry is at the White House now with more.
President Joe Biden traveled to a Philadelphia suburb to visit a small business and promote the American Rescue Plan. This is all part of a 6-state swing for the president, vice president, and their spouses to peel back the layers of the plan for the American public. The Republican National Committee is launching its own campaign to combat the Biden administration's messaging around the COVID relief bill. They say the massive plan spends too little on the pandemic.
They tried to call the bill a couple of weeks ago a COVID bill, which had 1% for vaccines and 9% for health care and a whole lot of other things.
During a House committee hearing, acting FEMA Administrator Bob Fenton pushed back on assertions that migrants crossing the southern border are spreading COVID-19.
There's testing happening. What we're seeing is less than 6% positive right now coming across the border.
He also said FEMA is pushing to get many more Americans vaccinated as soon as possible before hurricane and wildfire seasons begin.
FEMA is working with other federal agencies and our partners to ensure that vaccinations can proceed quickly as increased supplies allow, so that everyone who wants a vaccine can get one.
Tuesday, Mississippi became the 2nd state after Alaska to open vaccine eligibility to everyone 16 and older. Skyler Henry, CBS News, the White House.
Today, the acting FEMA administrator also told members of Congress that his agency hopes to launch a 1-800 number, a call center in April, to begin reimbursing families of Americans who died of COVID-19 for funeral costs. Dr. Anthony Fauci today joined D.C. area faith leaders at Washington National Cathedral to discuss COVID-19 vaccine hesitancy. 25 interfaith clergy received the vaccine on camera following the discussion. The event is designed to demonstrate confidence in the vaccine, which is meeting some resistance across the U.S., including among minority communities hit disproportionately by the pandemic. All right, we're going to try to check back in with Doug now. I think we have the audio glitches worked out, Doug.
All right, Dow. Yeah, it turned out to be a fantastic day for us today. Temperatures great as most of us have gone into the mid-70s, so a very spring-like day across the region. But we do have a storm system which is rolling in, is going to work in during the overnight hours for us tonight. At least the winds have been fairly light. We have a south wind at about 10 to 15, so it's not super windy. We have some mid and upper level clouds streaming through, but we are dry. But out to the west, here's our next storm system. You can start to see some rain picking up in southeastern parts of Colorado, and that's really going to explode into thunderstorms over about the next 3 to 4 hours. So for the evening, if you want to get outside, it looks great. But here's 2 a.m. You can start to see thunderstorms developing and then working in early morning hours. Some of these could be strong, maybe even low-grade severe. So we're going to be breaking this down for you here in just a bit.
Okay, we'll see you then. Thanks, Doc. A little bit later, social media safety measures.
Protecting your teens from predators. I'm Elise Preston with a look at how Instagram is changing its safety protocols.
And next in Health Watch, Moderna expands its test trials to see how the vaccine responds to children. The Centers for Disease Control and Prevention might revise its recommendation to distance 6 feet in classrooms. A Harvard study published last week found no difference in COVID transmissions in Massachusetts schools when students distanced 3 feet instead of the CDC recommended 6 feet. Students in that study were wearing masks. The CDC isn't quite ready to revise its recommendations yet, but its director says the agency is looking at the possibility. Moderna has expanded its vaccine trials to include kids from 6 months to 12 years old. The trial for 12 to 17-year-olds is also underway. The studies are designed to show how the children tolerate the vaccine and to make sure it's safe and effective for them. Reporter David Begnow spoke to one family who's involved.
It was Blair Davis's 15th birthday, and to celebrate, she and her younger sister Dylan got into the car, headed to a clinic.
Happy birthday, way to celebrate.
And they got a COVID swab. That's because the Davis sisters are part of Moderna's adolescent vaccine trials. And yesterday, they got their second shots.
No way to know if it's a placebo or if it's the real thing, but what do you think?
I think I got the placebo.
We're pushing for a fever. We're pushing for body aches.
Yes, exactly.
That's
because
right.
as doctors, you know that if that happens, the body is reacting
That's
to
right.
something.
That's right. They're getting a response.
Yeah.
We're looking for a response.
Garvin Davis and Mindy Jeter, both doctors, are the girls' parents. They say they applied to at least 3 different adolescent trials.
To get them protected was really important for us.
So you felt like getting them protected as early as possible would in the end protect you?
Would protect us. It would protect their grandparents and anyone else.
But for this family, it's not just about protecting themselves from COVID.
I wanted them to be an example, to set an example, to say, hey, this vaccine is safe. We actually, as doctors, trust our children getting this shot.
And getting kids vaccinated will be critical to ending the pandemic, says CBS News medical contributor Dr. David Agus.
So we have to do everything we can to get toward herd immunity. And given that 25% of the United States is under the age of 21, this is going to have to include children.
And now that we know the vaccines work, children's trials only need to answer the important questions.
Is it safe, period? And do they mount effective immune responses, period? And those are very easy to do with smaller numbers of children.
A few thousand children, actually, starting with kids like Dylan and Blair, who spent her special day in a Houston clinic.
But it's sort of my duty, like as a Houstonian, to help out other Houstonians. This is one way I can do that.
Dr. Anthony Fauci is saying that the older kids, Blair and Dylan's age, could get the COVID vaccine as early as this fall. And the babies, the really young ones, could start getting it as early as next year. David Begnow, CBS News, Houston, Texas.
Moderna hopes to enroll 3,000 participants in that trial for 12 to 17-year-olds. A mother's diet during pregnancy could have a long-term impact on her child's weight. A study in the American Journal of Clinical Nutrition used data collected from food questionnaires. Diets that may increase inflammation were associated with faster BMI growth rates in children ages 3 to 10. And lower adherence to a Mediterranean diet was associated with higher BMI through adolescence. A study in the Journal of the American College of Cardiology found some progress has been made in racial disparities in heart disease, high blood pressure, and diabetes death rates in the last 20 years. Researchers say most of those modest gains were in urban areas, but Black adults in rural areas have higher mortality rates from high blood pressure and diabetes. Doug Hetty is up next with his complete forecast. And a little bit later, the FAA extends its zero tolerance policy for passengers who refuse to wear masks on flights.
Well, of course, it turned out to be a great day for us today. Temperatures mid-70s for highs. The wind's not very strong, so it turned out to be just a fantastic spring day across the region. But we are going to have some changes working in. You can see most of us into the mid-70s, except our northern counties, where they're kind of on the north side of our warm front, so they're sitting mainly into lower 60s. But the winds, really not too bad. They kind of switched around now to the south east for us today at about 5 to 15, but it looks great. Currently outside 75 southeasterly winds at about 10 to 15. Humidity is pretty low at about 33%. Through the evening hours, we'll slide back through the 70s, 60s. We're only going to bottom out into the mid 50s for overnight lows by tomorrow morning. We do have a lot of clouds. These are mid and upper level clouds, but we're still getting some sunshine out there. So really it's turned out to be a pretty good day, but our developing storm system, you can see it out across parts of New Mexico. This is heading toward us and will greatly change our weather up as we go through about the next 24 to 36 hours. Over the next couple hours, we'll start to get big time thunderstorms blowing up across the panhandles of Oklahoma and Texas, and it's that system that is going to spread into the area late tonight. Most of the evening looks fine. All the way to about 2 or 3 o'clock in the morning looks okay, and then we'll start to get some thunderstorms out across our western counties, and that's where the heaviest rain is going to be. We'll see showers, thunderstorms spreading in. So here's 5 a.m. You can see the showers and thunderstorms picking up through the morning hours. Here's 8 a.m. Some of these could be stronger. I do think if we had anything severe late tonight into tomorrow morning, the main threat would be gusty winds at 60 and some large hail. But I really think most of these are going to stay strong. I think we would see low-grade severe thunderstorms. These roll out by the time we head into mid to late morning. So with this round of storms, we do have a low severe threat, mainly on the Kansas and the Oklahoma side, from about midnight until about 7 a.m. Again, the main threat is going to be hail and wind. As we go through the morning hours, these storms work out. We get a little bit of sunshine. Now, the clouds are going to stick mainly in our northern counties, areas along the north of I-44. As we go into the afternoon, there's going to be a small window from about 1 p.m. until about 4 p.m. for thunderstorms to pop up, especially along and south of the I-44 corridor. Some of these could go severe real quickly, and these would be wind and hail makers and even a low tornado threat as well. You can see here's 4 p.m., mainly southwestern parts of Missouri, and then our severe threat is done. The cold front rolls in, so here's 7:30 p.m., and then we don't have to worry about any severe weather, but we do have that threat as we head into the afternoon. Still, high temps are going to go into the upper 60s for highs. Then tomorrow night, it's all just rain, just kind of a cold rain, may mix with a little bit of snow by the time we head into Thursday morning, so a big switch. So here's our severe threat for us tomorrow afternoon. Again, the main timing, noon to about 4 p.m., will elevate hail and will elevate heavy amounts of rain. So a couple events we got to watch over the next 24 to 48 hours. 68 tomorrow, 45, that's it on Thursday. But most of the weekend looks pretty good as we rebound back into the 60s.
Yeah, that'll be nice. Come the weekend, we'll get out and enjoy it then. Thanks.
Absolutely.
Thanks. Coming up, Instagram is taking steps to protect teens from online predators. First, though, we honor a local veteran. Kyle Herron served in the U.S. Army Rangers from 2004 to 2007. His hometown, Frontenac, Kansas, and we salute Specialist Kyle Herron, a four-state hero. The Federal Aviation Administration is extending its zero-tolerance policy for unruly passengers. There have been more than 500 reports since December, most related to travelers who refuse to wear a mask. The policy skips counseling or warnings, moving right to fines of up to $35,000 and prison time. The extension is likely to last at least as long as face masks are required for air travel. A new survey shows that more than 60% of Americans want the government to stop dictating the size of gatherings once vaccines are widely available. But it doesn't mean people are throwing caution to the wind. The poll conducted by sports and leisure research group ROOKK Solutions shows that most Americans who plan to be vaccinated support requiring a proof of vaccination for certain public events. Instagram is changing the way it protects teenagers from online predators. The company's head of global public policy talked about the new changes first on CBS This Morning. Reporter Elise Preston has the latest.
Instagram is taking steps to protect teenagers from unwanted interactions with adults. The popular social media company announced it will use artificial intelligence to restrict adults from messaging teenagers if they don't follow each other.
We're using machine learning to look at behavioral signals of how old someone is.
Instagram will also use prompts to encourage teens to be cautious and make it harder for adults to find and follow them.
People come to Instagram to connect with their family and friends.
On CBS This Morning, Instagram's Carolyn Merrill stressed that the activity on the platform is overwhelmingly positive, but
even in one of our latest reports, we saw that in over 10,000 pieces of content, 5 were potentially risky for teens. But 5 is too much, and that's why we're investing in even more technology to protect teens.
A 2019 study found at least 20% of children reported being contacted by an online predator.
It's estimated that there's maybe 500,000 predators online a day. Does that surprise you?
Yes and no. The number, yeah, that's very scary to hear that there are people out there doing that. No, unfortunately, it doesn't surprise me.
Instagram is also updating its Parents Guide so that parents have the resources to help their children have a positive experience on the platform. Elise Preston, CBS News, New York.
Tips in the Parents Guide include setting boundaries, encourage teens to avoid social media for an hour before bed, and make sure they have an alarm clock that isn't their phone. Tinder is adding a new safety feature to its matchmaking portfolio. Parent company Match Group says it's going to implement background check technology so users can screen potential love interests for violent crimes, restraining orders, or harassment. And a plan to reopen some Toys R Us stores is in the works. Brand management company WHP Global has acquired a controlling stake in the ailing toy store following a number of failed reboot strategies. WHP says it plans to reopen some locations in the form of flagship stores, pop-ups, and mini locations. Final check of the forecast next. The CBS Evening News is next. Then on KOAM News at 6, we're going to hear more from Southeast Kansas health officials about the state's plan to move to the next phases of its vaccine rollout. Plus, state officials take a look back at the struggles and successes of the past year at the school. Stay with us for the CBS Evening News and then KOAM News at 6. Hey, look out, Labrador Retrievers, French Bulldogs like this could soon become America's favorite dog breed. The American Kennel Club released its annual list of the most popular dogs of the year. Topping the list for the 30th year in a row is the Labrador Retriever, but French Bulldogs are closing in, coming in at about 66,000 in the U.S. compared to 98,000 labs. French Bulldogs have skyrocketed in popularity in recent years. Doug, I know you like French Bulldogs yourself.
Yeah, we got little Bowie. I mean, they're great dogs. They're great house dogs. Very stubborn, but they're good dogs. Yeah, ours is now about 7 months old and growing up. All right, weather-wise, we got thunderstorms rolling in. This is going to be late tonight, but some of them could be strong, maybe even low-grade severe, and then another chance for some severe thunderstorms tomorrow afternoon. Of course, we'll have the latest at 6.
We'll see you then. In the meantime, let's take care of ourselves and each other.